1. On tonight's show, we discuss more NX patents, Splatoon Test Fire demo is back, Sega has a huge sale, and Zach is excited, and more Pokemon Sun and Moon news. Plus, we hang out with Kris Price from All That Is Nerd podcast. Your questions and so much more. Zach, cue the music.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. My name is Zach Erickson, and tonight is August 17th, 2016. Joining me tonight is the wonderfully frazzled, for some reason, Justin Masson. What's going on tonight, Justin?
Dude, it's been a day. I've been up at like 5 o'clock every morning this week, and it's back-to-back meetings. But you know what? All that chaos makes me feel good that I'm here, because this is like my safe zone. Speaking of unsafe zone, Jesse Waldak, VG Tribune, how are you, sir?
Good. I brought some show and tell today. At least show for you guys and the one or two people on YouTube. Tell for everyone else. So, this is a show about nostalgia, would you say?
I would say.
So,
yeah.
There's
Crystal Pepsi.
There's my nostalgia.
Doc, get back in the DeLorean. We gotta go back to 1983. Crystal Pepsi.
1992.
It's okay, Morty. They sell them down at the gas station now, Morty.
Nice. And of course, that voice that you're hearing is Kris Price from All That Is Nerd podcast. Kris, how are you today?
What's up, guys?
Right on,
Things
man.
are going
Thanks for
pretty
being on
great.
the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty excited.
Right on. Jesse's over there enjoying his water. He's printed his own thing there.
You know what's funny is my church had like a leadership night this past Friday, and it was an I Love the 90s theme. And so they had Crystal Pepsi everywhere.
That's great.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
Like, it's like it's everywhere lately, so it's kind of funny.
See,
Nice.
like haunting
Do we
me.
even have that in Canada? I don't remember.
I don't recall.
It
Probably.
it is somewhere, because apparently it was out in Canada a few weeks before we got it. And
a lot of times things are just delayed here, so that's probably just how long it took to get to Canada.
That's okay. You're not missing out on much.
We had like 15 years delay to get Crystal Pepsi.
You know what we do have up here, though, is we have Pepsi ginger Pepsi.
Ugh.
It is horrible.
Made from real.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
It'll steal your soul.
there's
really is bad. I've tried it.
there's my wife and daughter are part of the SCA, and we'll go to these events that reenact medieval times. Think Renaissance Festival, but more historically accurate. So you do have knights and sword fighting, but there's no fairies. Anyway, so there are groups of people who partake in homebrew, some alcoholic, some non-alcoholic, and there's a drink that my daughter likes is they call it ginger beer. It's like root beer, but with ginger. And I've tried other ginger sodas that are professionally put out, and they're normally so heavy with ginger, it's like blah. But that's
I can't say that I've ever had a soda that put out before.
You know what I mean.
Well, you hear that sound of the music? You hear that?
Yeah, the music ended.
We went through all of our bed music and haven't gotten into the news yet, which tells me one thing is it's news time.
Do it.
The news, of course, is brought to us by
Patreon. Nope, not that one. Brought to us by OneUpBox.com. We like stuff being sent to our house. We like unboxing stuff. If you like that kind of stuff, head over to OneUpBox.com. Use the offer code NintendoDads, and because we love you and OneUpBox loves you, they will take money off the first box. And FYI, this month's box is theme, and there's Nintendo stuff in it. So guys, OneUpBox, awesome, cool, geeky stuff. Go check it, subscribe, do it. Back to you, Zach.
Right on. So we've got some discussion here, a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, not a whole bunch of stuff. It's been a pretty slow news week. Very slow. However, having said that, we do have there is a Sega sale going on right now. I guess we'll just start off with that first. So people, Sega kids unite. I don't know. There's a bunch of Sega games that
all one of you?
The three. Hey.
There are dozens of us. Dozens.
Oh. there was just as bit there. The Sega Genesis was a successful console.
You can count them on 4 hands.
Rival the Super Nintendo in a wonder. Yeah, anyways, so there's a whole bunch here. I was saying before the show that I actually am looking at a bunch of these, and even though I do call myself a Sega kid growing up, before we got our 64, in the Super Nintendo days, right? I was a Genesis kid. Looking at most of these games, I didn't really play most of these games because I was also like between the ages of 8 and 12, probably. So it's not like I had a huge library of games when I was a kid.
So are these like Genesis Virtual Consoles, or
no? These are
or are these from the arcade?
These are the 3D classics. So like all the 3D classics line that Sega has been doing.
Well, right, but are they like ports of the old arcade version, or what are they from?
It's like as far as I know, these are the ones that Sega has taken the original game and they've built it from the ground up in 3D on the 3DS.
Yeah, but which original game? The arcade game or something that they found a home port?
Who's on first? What's on second?
Right.
I don't know. It's probably whatever is the best version, honestly.
Probably the arcade.
Yeah, I don't know. So with these, so that we've got Afterburner 2, Echo the Dolphin, which I did have and played, and I probably will download that. Gunstar Heroes, Outrun, Shinobi 3, Space Harrier, Streets of Rage 2, and Super Hang-On all are available for $3, which is like half price. And so if you are looking to try these out, go over to the eShop on your Nintendo 3DS console or any Nintendo 3DS family system. And I don't know.
But if you miss out on it, it's fine because they're going to bring a classic Genesis edition later in the year, and they'll have them on
they've already got that first edition out now.
Yep.
The 3D classics. That one is. I don't know if these ones, what was in the first one versus the second one, but these ones are all looking like they're actually pretty good games. So.
What was I going to say? Gunstar Hero. That's one that actually I've been looking at for a while. I've thought about that one a couple times. I might pull the trigger on that one. But I was actually just thinking about it. All the times that we have done our retro rewind, we have never had a Sega game pulled.
Well, that's actually one. I think because we technically do the virtual console games, but I think we could do a 3D classics game if it was like a Sega game.
I would think. I
think that would be fun. I think that'd be really. I think it'd be fun to do Nintendo and because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is one of them that you could do, or there's lots of different ones there. So
I've got a couple of those 3D classics. They're all really nice.
They're really good. And they do such a better job than the Nintendo Virtual Console ones. Like they have like the CRT mode and like a whole bunch of different ways to do it. It's pretty slick. It's not just like a ROM dump like the console games are. They really put a lot of care into them. So
now, obviously, the only downside is that if you get that and then you go try and buy the same game over on the Wii U, you don't get the crossover discount.
Which you don't with virtual console games, anyways, either. So
you don't?
No. If you bought the game on the Wii and then you try and buy it on the Wii U, then
that's so dumb.
Yeah, they need to fix that on the NX. That's one of the things that's on just about everybody's list. Is
like I know we're gonna get an NX in a minute, but I really hope that like in the future when they unveil the NX, they'll be like, okay, and whatever you have on the eShop purchased transfers over. Like, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. So next up here, we've got the Splatfest demo. We're gonna come back to this trailer in a minute here. Splatfest demo is back. Justin, is this literally just the test fire? Like,
yeah. So yeah, that's a great question. So the Splatoon test fire demo is actually back, and it's back from August 25th to 28th, and actually specifically between the hours of 3 and 5 p.m. Mountain Stand, 3 and 5 p.m. actually. So if you're anyone who owns a Wii U console, can actually download the demo for Splatoon for free and try a Splatfest test fire.
Why?
Yeah, I don't really fully understand. I feel like you've really missed a boat here.
You've missed the boat. It's gone. It's not coming back.
Yeah,
not only that, but
And they do have some limitations as well. Well, I shouldn't say limitations. The weapons that they're allowing you are the Splat Shot Junior, the Splatter Shot, Splat Roller, Splat Charger, and the stages are providing our Salt Spray Rig and Walleye Warehouse. So yeah, it just feels really kind of out of place.
And those are exactly the same ones they gave you the first time around, right?
I don't think they gave you the roller and the charger in the original test fire, but
No.
But I just don't understand. Like, let's just play a game of numbers. Let's take one column, the number of people who do not own Splatoon. The next column is the number of people who don't own Splatoon who are likely to download this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Small percentage, right? I would say if you don't own Splatoon by now, you probably weren't interested, right? Well, and then let's take that and say the number of people who download this demo and then think, oh, I probably should go download Splatoon. Even smaller percentage than that.
Yeah.
The amount of money that they're going to make from doing this probably is less than the amount of
time it took to write a press release and email it,
and the amount of money that would have cost them. Right? Like
So I'm actually on Nintendo's PR information right now, and their statement is that Splatoon has sold over 4 million units worldwide since its launch last year. We know the attach rate for the Wii U is, I just believe, over 12 million. So let's make some round numbers here. That 1 in 3 Wii U owners own Splatoon.
Yeah.
You're not, like, at this point in the Nintendo life cycle of this console, you're not moving a lot of extra games here, folks. Like,
Which is still a pretty impressive attach rate.
Oh, absolutely. It's very impressive. I think it's actually the highest attach rate for any Wii U game.
I think Nintendo Land's probably higher.
Well, it's a bundle, so yeah, of course, it's going to have a higher attach rate.
Mario Kart and Smash Brothers probably are higher than that, but
I think they're lower, actually.
Are they?
I'll go check some.
Anyway, so here's the only thing I can think of why they would do this is that they want to. What they really want more than anything is that until NX comes out, they want Splatoon to be in the public consciousness as much as possible, right? So they want to remind people that Splatoon exists. They don't want this franchise to go away because it's such a big success for them right now and has been over the past couple of years, that they don't want people to forget that Splatoon exists. They want to continue to remind people how awesome it is so that when NX is announced and Splatoon 2 is announced, people remember how awesome it is. That is my theory for why. That's the only reason why they would do this, right? Is as a part of a strategy to continually remind people about Splatoon. That's my theory. I don't know. Thoughts? Justin?
Yeah, I mean, logically that makes sense. And I mean, we do know that it's going to be the game that they're banking a lot of in the future on. It's no big shock. So they want to continually I think they want to make sure when people think Nintendo, they think Splatoon and Mario eventually, right? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if one of the Inklings gets a mustache sometime soon. Because I think that's how deeply ingrained that franchise is now with the company. So you're probably right. Like, it's just like keeping it up in the conscience. But you can do that in different ways, right? Like, you could be releasing DLC packs for people who currently own it. You could be, like, so many other things could get the hype as opposed to, like, by the way, for 3 days, for 2 hours of those 3 days, so 6 hours in total, maybe play a game.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing with yourself, Nintendo?
Come on, what are you doing with yourself? And
this is a question I ask weekly.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your decisions in your life, Nintendo? I think it's weird.
Nintendo though, still. Okay, no, it's cool.
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I just ask myself about that just in general. What are you doing with yourself? Like in the mirror, that's what I do. But
I think it's weird. I mean, like, why do I want to put it back in the public eye? I mean, Zach, you bring up a really good point. It's going to cost them more money than it's worth in the long run to do it. Maybe they are. There's a couple different ways they could earn some kind of revenue from this, right? Well, first off, there's no DLC, so there's nothing extra within the game that people can purchase. So they're either going to sell more games, they're going to sell more amiibo, or they're going to launch another concert, like tour with the Squid Sisters.
And I think that's
if they continue to remind people and that drives sales in other areas, I think that's a good possibility too. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that for sure. It could. It's not just the game, right? Like we're thinking just as the video game, but there's other things that could be just as important.
And like I didn't even think about the fact that are they trying to bring it back into the public eye? Why are they doing that? Possibly for Splatoon.
Thank you.
The rumor that's going on. Yeah. I honestly don't think that's going to happen. I think because if you look historically at Nintendo, other than things like Donkey Kong Country that in the 90s that just bam, bam, bam came out with 3 in a row and then 3 in the Game Boy and then Mario. Okay, so ignore those 2 franchises. Every other franchise, you have more than 2 years between titles.
Yeah.
On average.
Mm-hmm. This is one where I can see them fast tracking it because not necessarily because of here, but because of Japan.
In some series of more than 2
absolutely.
decades.
Yeah. So, by the way, you're Kris. You're coming in a little bit crunchy. I'm not entirely sure why, but anyway. Just
I was noticing the conversation. I know that as a quick aside, I can just send you my audio later to drop into the session if you want.
I actually can't separate it, so it's
okay.
We'll just make it.
Okay, I will try and figure it out.
That's all right. We'll just keep rolling with it. It just adds to the spice. So, yeah, that's cool. So, Testfire, I don't know. Anybody excited about this? Like, they're not even going to be playing with everybody else, right? Like, that's the thing is that they get their own little kiddie pool. They're not going to be able to play with everybody else.
I picture someone like getting excited, like, "Oh, I'm finally going to try this," and they're going to load onto the server, and no one's going to be there.
Yeah, totally.
Like one little Splatoon guy standing in that lobby, shaking and kind of twitching like they do.
They're probably bring in all the interns and all right, guys, you got to play this Testfire just so that there's people for the handful of people who haven't bought it yet.
I don't want to play anymore.
Well, so that's a good question. Is it going to be like a separate server than what everybody else is playing on, or are standard players going to be joining in on them? I think it's probably going to be a separate.
I would expect a separate server.
I would expect it as well, unless we log in at those exact times and are seeing that the 2 stages that are in rotation at that time are the same 2 that they've said for this Testfire. I don't know.
But if it is just one server, it seems like it would be nothing but super discouraging for those possible new players to get in and just get owned by all these level 50 players that are running around.
Not only that, but they're probably all going to be paired together anyways because of the ranking system and the matchmaking system. So
yeah,
it would all be matched together anyway, so it wouldn't be that big of a concern. Right on. Next up, we've got this World to the West trailer, and it's got some slick music to it. I played it a little bit earlier. I'll turn it. Here we go. Oh, that's louder than I expected. Justin, this is made by the same people as Teslagrad. Is that?
Yeah, it absolutely is. This is done by Rain Studios, I believe. This is looking very cool. We were saying in the pre-show, I was talking to Kris about it, but Teslagrad, I think, is one of the best games, indie games on the Wii U, that if you haven't picked up, you really should. And I believe now, Kris, you sent this over to us as well. Do you know, I think this is connected. Like, this is set in the same world. There's definitely some similar art styles. Yeah.
Same people, same universe.
What was the original Teslagrad? Was it like what kind of a game? Was it like a 2D platformer? Because this is looking more like top-down Zelda style.
Yeah, it was definitely a 2. Go ahead, Kris.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the original Teslagrad. I don't own it, but I've watched the trailer like 100 times because it looks so good. But it's like you were saying in pre-show there, Justin, about how it looks like it's like Soviet Russia kind of thing, and you're this little kid who runs around who's got these like magnet gloves, and like you get a cape and a special pair of shoes. So yeah, it's very platformer-esque. Plus, like maybe Metroidvania a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we're gonna use the kind of trying to put it closely as you can. It's got a beautiful kind of almost art style painted background or foreground with very Metroidvania-esque kind of moments to it, and this kind of like cold, wet, damp Almost steampunkian look to some pieces of it.
Thank you for not saying moist, by the way.
You're welcome. But definitely, it's very, very cool. I would recommend if you haven't picked it up. This is definitely a must play for sure.
And so when is this other one coming out? This World to the West. Again, it looks more of like a 2D Zelda sort of style, like a top down.
It's TBA.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
no
think
date yet.
I think I heard 2017, but
yeah, yeah.
That's a pretty blank statement.
I really like the it looks great. And in fact, I hope it's for, have they said what it's for? No, they haven't. Which is good, because maybe that means it'll be on NX. And here's the thing, is that so often for me, this is kind of just in general, but the idea that this thing is going to be portable, that the NX is going to be portable, is such an awesome thing for me, because I honestly feel like so often I play on my, like on a portable instead of in front of a TV. Like for some reason, sitting in front of a TV is really, it's just something I don't do very often. And so for the idea that I could play this game or any other indie games and stuff like that on my NX portable is I just love the idea of being able to play anything I want portable right now.
Yeah,
that is such an appealing thing for me right now.
Speaking of NX, there was another rumor that came out today. I apologize. I don't think I sent it to you. But it looks like there's like rumors and reports and whisperings that it's going to be using the new NVIDIA chip as opposed to the several-year-old NVIDIA chip processor.
Yeah, the Tegra X2, which was there. I'd seen that rumor a few weeks ago. I think we talked about the video that somebody had talked about as well when the original sort of detachable sides came out. Somebody had speculated that the Tegra X1, that the Tegra X2 could be what they're running, and yeah, I saw that today. That rumor kind of popped up again, which is good. So, and yeah, man, I'm excited. Let's talk about one more thing before we get into some speculation stuff here. The Alola, or another Pokemon video, was announced, or released, I should say, and more Pokemon were announced. It honestly feels like for this game, they are the sort of name of the game is mix it up where we can mix it up, but also bring as much nostalgia as possible, which is great. I think so. Just as far as they go, they revealed the actual team. You know, in the original games, there was Team Rocket, and then there's what was there, like Team Aqua, Team Magma, Team Galaxy, or whatever. Team Flare was in the most recent
Plasma. There somewhere, yeah,
something like that. Team Galaxy, what was it? Anyways, Team whatever. So this time it's Team Skull, and they are like a bunch of like just look like punks, right? Like just skinhead, like street thugs almost. Which
the leadership looks like punk.
Yeah, I love the return to a because it seems like in some of the other Pokemon games, like Team Rocket they were thugs, they were like the mafia is almost what it felt like.
Absolutely.
In weird jumpsuits. And ever since then, like the creators have almost been like weird mad scientists in a way, and they've kind of talked about like sympathetic, like the villains have almost been sympathetic in some weird way. Like Lysander in the X and Y games was almost like, he was like this weird sort of like overly, he was crazy, but he also was like slightly almost relatable or nice or something. You know what I mean? Try and make it sympathetic. I really love the idea of just, let's just return to, we're just going to call him Team Skull, right? Like, screw it. This guy is crazy, and he's, like it's bad guys again, and there's no question there. I like the return to that.
I saw a comparison picture on Twitter, like even before I saw the initial announcement of Team Skull, that the male leader kind of has a resemblance to Doc Brown.
Nice. I like it. So yeah, that's awesome. So then they announced some more Pokemon. There's a Pokemon called Wishy Washy, who is like can become a school of it's like a little wimpy fish, and then a bunch of fish come together, and he's like this huge fish, which is really cool. And then there were some other ones. And then there was some forms, some new forms. There was a Marowak who was Ghost Fire type.
I think that one's epic.
It's super rad.
Especially if you recall the lore from Gen 1.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It totally fits the lore, right? And then, in fact, it fits the lore more than the original just ground type one did.
Right.
I think it's cool. And then Meowth, a dark type Meowth, which I thought looked all right. I don't know. I wasn't crazy about that one.
The
the
artwork of that looks oddly feminine for a Meowth.
Yeah, and then the Raichu that rides on its own tail is electric and psychic. And I love the description on Raichu. Like, if you actually go to the website, I saw this on Reddit, where they're like, well, why is this Raichu suddenly psychic? And even on the website, they're like, they almost admit, like, we don't know. We didn't think that far ahead. It's just like, scientists do not know. They're are unclear of why Raichu is now a psychic as well. So
I actually have a little bit of a differing opinion. I am over it. I was just listening to Nintendo Newsweek podcast on my way back from work tonight, and they were talking about how with the NX, there's another rumor that we'll probably get into in a minute. But there might be another Pokemon game coming out soon, and they were wondering, what could it be? It's too soon for a third version or another generation or anything.
That's what I said last week.
Yeah, and they were saying so maybe they think they should kind of start from scratch and just start over because Pokemon Go's got this whole thing. Maybe it's time for Kanto to come back. Gen 1, and I kind of agree with that. To me, it feels like all of this, new Alolan type forms that we're coming out with for Vulpix, Ninetales, Marowak, all this stuff. It feels like even Game Freak is reaching in the bottom of the barrel. Like, it kind of seems like they're like, oh, quick, we need something new for a new Pokemon game.
Well,
it just seems like, and even then, like on their website, they're like, well, I don't know, let's make him psychic. Well, screw it, whatever, we don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple of things at play here. I think one of them is, I think that this is very similar to what they did in Gen 6, where they did the Mega Evolutions, where it was like, hey, it's a Pokemon that but it all of these could very easily be a Mega Evolution, right?
Which I still think is really dumb. Like,
yeah.
So you
didn't like the Mega Evolutions either?
I don't. I feel like the game has gotten way too meta.
It's gotten very bloated, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know. I think it's interesting to find I think that they're kind of riding this line right now where they're able to pull on the nostalgia of the originals, and I don't necessarily think that going back to the originals is necessarily what all fans want either. I don't know if that's necessarily to just remake Red and Blue again on the NX. I don't think that that's the right move either, because the game has made significant improvements as well. So I don't know. I'm a fan of these new forms. I think that they're a good remix, but I also can see what you're saying for sure. That it does seem like it's all. I almost feel like it's more of an inherent problem with the overall concept. As soon as they said 150 and there's more, and then the second generation came out and they added 100, they weren't thinking 20 years down the line, or holy crap, now we're gonna have like 800 different Pokemon. What the hell are we doing, right? Like they weren't thinking about that. So
yeah, absolutely.
So and at this point, is it even possible to collect all of them? I don't know. Is that? I think people do it, but they've got to have like multiple different versions of games and
right.
But yeah, no, I see what you're saying for sure. Absolutely. Any other thoughts on this stuff, Justin, Jesse?
You know what? I'm kind of, when will the Pokemon leak stop?
Never.
I feel like
November 18th.
Yeah, no.
At this point, is there really a surprise? Like, yeah, and I understand marketing and I understand getting your content out, but it's like every single week there is something new and different about it, and it's like, okay, I get it. Like, yeah,
they did the same thing before X and Y. They seemed like they overplayed their hand and revealed too much.
And maybe it's because of how hot Pokemon Go is right now. They just want to keep that popularity train running and kind of keep people in the know about it. but it's just a little bit like, I could have been okay discovering the Team Skull characters and the guy that looks like Doc Brown on my own, right? Or as the game like it didn't really add a lot of value other than like, hey, there's another team, and you're like, okay, thanks.
You know what though? Here's
knew it was coming anyway.
Here's the question though: is that the actual Pokemon fan base? A real question is, do they actually want to be surprised when the game comes out, or is the build up to the game and having the entirety of all the Pokemon that are in the game released beforehand more exciting than actually discovering them in the game? I would argue that it's probably like they're going to leave some for the actual game, but I think that for them not to say anything would actually harm the hype for this game. And instead revealing it over the course between now and then is actually what the fans want. Maybe not what we want, but what the majority of the people who follow this want. I think that builds more hype. And that's, I mean, we've seen Nintendo do this with other games as well. Like was it Mario Kart where Mario Kart 8 where they revealed like all of the Koopa kids before it was actually released? Or what was the actual? There was another game where they basically
Smash.
No, what I'm thinking of was
That's a good
what
point.
I'm thinking of was 3D World, where in 3D World they revealed before the game was even out that if you beat the game you could unlock Rosalina.
Oh, that's
Remember that?
dumb.
And they announced that before the game was ever even out. So Nintendo, and I know that Pokemon and Nintendo are different marketing teams, but this has been done before where they've spoiled a big parts of the game. Just because it builds hype. So,
well, for what it's worth, I played Black. Like I played Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow like a kid on crack. I loved those 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have another Pokemon game in my house until I bought Pokemon Black a couple years ago, and it was like playing Pokemon for the first time ever all over again. Because if I remember correctly, there were very few, if zero, original 150 to 200 Pokemon in Pokemon Black until you beat the game.
Yeah, I remember Gen
like
5 being pretty much all self-contained until the end game.
Yeah,
and I loved that. Like walking into it and being like, "What the heck is this? An Audino? Like, what is that? I guess I'll catch it and see. Oh, it's normal. Okay, that's cool." That the exploration factor was all fresh and new, and it kind of seems like every time Pokemon Company releases another video, it's like, oh, okay, well, now there's that to look forward to. I wonder how much of the game is not going to be new, because the more they do these generations, the fewer new Pokemon they've been having recently. So I'm afraid that like the more reveals they have, they're going to get the game out and be like, yeah, actually that's all the new Pokemon in the game. All the ones we showed, those all the new ones. There's just we redid all the old 150 ones. That's what's the rest. I'm afraid like that's gonna be the game.
Yeah, see, because like I can see what you're saying too. Like it would be really cool if all of a sudden you're in the middle of, if I was just playing the game and all of a sudden, I'm in some snowy area and then all of a sudden a Sandshrew shows up, but he looks like an igloo. Be like, whoa, what is going on? That's crazy.
That would have blown my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Wait,
right on.
Before we move on, I don't know if you've heard about this, but Amazon has an exclusive bundle where it's Pokemon Sun and Moon dual pack in a steel book.
I've seen that. Yeah,
it is more expensive than if you buy each normal game individually. So it's in the US it's $90.
Nice.
But of course, if you're a Prime member, you get 20% off. So then you're saving. Then it drops down to $72. So there you are saving a little bit. So I pre-ordered 2 of these.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I almost bought that, and then maybe I still will. We'll see. But
I don't think the 20% is in Canada though, right?
Well, it's not, but still, I'm going to be needing to buy 2 copies of this anyways. So for me and the boy. Did you see that link I just sent, Justin?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up right now.
Yeah, I expect I expect similar type reporting from you in the company. Right on. So finally, we've got some Breath of the Wild teaser videos that Nintendo's been releasing. Any thoughts on these? I'll admit I haven't watched these yet. I
haven't seen them either.
They have been posted on our Facebook channel for those of you that follow us on Facebook or like us on Facebook. It is essentially 30 seconds of like what's going on in the Breath of the Wild world. So on today's episode of Link in the Wild, we saw him cook mushrooms, cut a tree, and explore a cabin. Let's watch. Like it's very like National Geographic.
Oh, wow.
Crikey, there's a Link in the Wild. He's cooking up some mushrooms, guys. Oh, that's a great craziness right there. Grabs an axe, goes cuts down a tree, mate. That's crazy.
It's got the
Don't chop that though. That there's a Korok.
Yeah, he's coming back. He's angry too, eh? Let's see what happens after today's commercial break.
They've got the little leaf dude. Is that what those are called? Koroks?
Koroks, yeah.
Dude, those dudes are the best.
Well, it's been confirmed that one of them already, or several of them shown in these new teasers, are from Wind Waker. They are the same characters from Wind Waker.
What?
They are putting together a bit of a timeline for us, you see.
Okay, so let's speculate then. So what? Let me pull up the Zelda timeline. Hang on, Zelda. So that means it takes place after. Is that right? Or
It could-
immediately before Wind Waker?
It could take place before, I suppose.
Because if the Koroks are there, all we know is that
They exist.
Hyrule was flooded at some point. Spoiler alert for Wind Waker.
Yeah,
There's
but
one.
only,
You son of a...
but only in the Link adult timeline.
Right.
But I've seen multiple videos that are speculating that the game will take place in the Fallen Hero timeline.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Hang on.
So
Fallen Hero.
Which I kind of agree with.
There was no flood there. I agree with the videos too. They have pretty compelling arguments.
Well, then where's the Koroks?
see-
There's no Koroks in that other timeline.
I don't know.
Well, no, there's a new rumor that came out this week that said that so in the three timelines, right? In the adult timeline of Ocarina of Time, you get
the
to
adult timeline is my favorite timeline.
you get to Ganondorf's castle, and once you're there as an adult, there's a giant lava crater underneath Ganondorf's castle, right? In the Fallen timeline, there's still the crater there. But in the child timeline, there is no crater because you stopped Ganondorf from, taking control of everything and seizing the Triforce of Power. So in the Breath of the Wild, they showed a map. And in the most recent video, they were like, does this look familiar? It's the Temple of Time. Well, apparently they showed a map, and it looked like there is no crater. So now people are speculating, well, maybe this takes place in the child timeline. So there are rumors and speculation and decent theories and proof for it to fall in literally any of the timelines.
And
What if the game actually shifts between the different timelines?
That would be interesting.
I would like that.
And here's my speculation is that Nintendo really doesn't care about the stupid timeline.
No,
They don't.
They probably regret printing it.
Aonuma has come out against it already publicly, I believe.
Yeah.
Aonuma or Miyamoto has, one of the two.
And
It
this
wouldn't
game is
surprise
gonna
me
just
if both of
serve
them.
This game is just going to serve as a big middle finger to everybody who thinks.
because you absolutely know that like after any trailer, we all kind of soak it in, and then there's like
Andre gets
1
up
minute
there
delay,
and
and then
has a
it's like
45-minute video.
Yep.
Did he put out his video yet?
Andre, you're part of the problem. Stop.
Because I know Andre's been working on an analysis video for like
He was just on Nintendo Voice Chat this week and said that
Right.
he's got an hour and a half
an
video.
hour and a half video coming out.
So
Stop.
just as kind of relation to that, Chris, you do know that your next step from here will most likely be on the Nintendo Voice Chat.
That would be
podcast.
awesome if they would
But,
have
like,
me.
that's how it works. People come here, they just kind of like learn how to have a podcast properly, and then
And then
they
they,
go to NVC.
Yeah,
So
they look over us, but we'll take our guests into turn. Into
Right,
their
right,
guests.
of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, if
They
they
looked
would
at
have
us.
me, that would be awesome. I would love
Yeah.
that.
it's
in all fairness, Pear did not look over us, and I sent Brian a tweet today, or sorry, this week. So we're still trying to get Brian.
I think I saw that.
Yeah,
So
as well.
so speaking of farming for guests, it's about time for your monthly attempt to get Trinan, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm giving him a month off. I'm going after Brian.
Okay.
Also, I just want to invite everybody to sign my change.org petition for Andre to just stop this nonsense.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the one that I posted today.
No.
Which one's that?
I said that I was going to start a petition for Nintendo to acquire and redistribute AM2R and call it Duper Metroid.
I like it.
Do it. Right on. Okay, so that is the Breath of the Wild videos. Let's head into a little bit of rumor talk.
It's like box of chocolates. You never know what you are going to get.
All right. Thank you, Iwata-san, for reminding us that these rumors, we never know what we're going to get.
I'd like to suggest that it's Awada-sama.
Okay.
Nope, just keep moving. Don't sit in it. Just
Right.
leave. Just go.
Look, this Japanese mud bog, we're going to plow through.
All right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Let's go on.
Okay. So we've got a few different rumors here and patents that have been applied or awarded or anyways, they're patents.
They have been awarded and applied and
surfaced
given.
online. They are line drawings of controllers. I don't know.
And it's the sketches.
Yeah. So the first one shows the detachable controllers basically using IR. So Jesse, you in the pre-show you kind of compared this to how the Circle Pad Pro works, or worked when it was out, right?
Well, it still does, presuming you have your battery didn't wear out by now.
Right. So basically the buttons correspond to different. They communicate via IR, right? Which is apparently really good for battery. I don't know. Any thoughts on this one? It was interesting. Just another piece backing up the idea that there may be detachable buttons from the main device. Any thoughts on that one? I guess the other patent kind of goes with that too. So.
One concern I have is if this thing is designed to be removable and reattachable, and in order to be IR, it's got to be perfectly lined up, or else it's not going to work. Is this in extended use of removal and reattachment? Is this thing going to get flimsy and weird, or is it still going to be pretty sturdy?
I think honestly, looking at these, the actual look of it and the design looks like garbage. But
the real product isn't going to look anything like those sketches.
Exactly where I was going is that the actual design. This is only describing the mechanism for how the peripheral buttons communicate with the main console device. Right. That's the only thing that this patent is really demonstrating here. So I think that in that sense, I think it's okay. The second one, looking at the detachable. What is this? The D-pad, you can swap them out. It almost looks like a modular sort of controller. Looks a little weird. Honestly, it kind of reminds me.
Didn't Xbox already do this?
Yeah, the Xbox Elite controller. If you've ever seen those.
If you want to pay for a $150 controller.
Yeah, but it looks very similar in that sense. Which again, looking at this too, it looks so similar to the bottom half of a 3DS. It's crazy. So we'll see how that goes, but. Yeah, it looks very.
Start selecting home buttons on your bottom.
Yeah.
3G, 3H, 3I.
Yeah.
There you go. So I don't know. Thoughts on this? Not a whole lot, but you could swap buttons around. Do you want a modular controller? Does anybody want that? I would rather have Nintendo design it the way they think it should be, and then just have it be the way it's going to be, and then it feels right.
I think some people like the D-pads and analog sticks in slightly different places, based on the size of their hands. And I think having some sort of flexibility wouldn't be a bad thing. But, I'm not sure, just swapping out one D-pad for another, I don't know what the point is.
Why not just design one that's going to actually last? Because that's the only other reason I can think of is, my D-pad's getting bad, I got to replace it with a new one. Why not just make the
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's more of the fact that it could be Nintendo taking a look at things and saying, well, maybe if our system, you could swap out the D-pad for another analog stick, or if you could swap out these buttons for these buttons or something like that, or maybe swap out the D-pad on the left side for more buttons. then maybe that could have more access for developers to make different types of games that have more input or something like that. So there is that possibility.
Well,
So
now
it's
you could be splitting your base if put out a game that needs 3 D-pads to work right, and people are gonna have to now buy extra
well, like
parts.
what you could do as well, kind of going along with what you're saying, Chris, is I think what they realized is that this NX, they can't sell a million peripherals for it, so they're going to sell little interchangeable dongles depending on the game. So you could get a new game that has some weird scanner thing that only works with this one game, but it's packed in the game, so don't worry. And so you can go.
Yeah, but I just watched a video today about how Rare sold all those expansion packs with Donkey Kong Country 60 or Donkey Kong 64,
Yep.
and how they lost a ton of money doing that. No company wants to do that. That's not.
Well, the story behind that is the system had 4 megs. The N64 dev kits had 8 megs. So they play tested the game with the dev kits. It works fine. They play tested the game on the N64, and it had a game breaking bug that they couldn't fix. So their solution was you have to play this with an 8 meg machine. So they gave you 4 megs as a pack in. And the
Sounds like Nintendo should have covered that bill.
I think they probably, well, it was the Donkey Kong game, so I'm sure they probably did, but yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. It's I don't know. We'll see. I would rather, going back to what you were saying before though, Jesse, I think that if they do this, I'm like, with all of this interchangeable sort of motif that they're going with, I know Nintendo hardware is always, it's always okay. It's always pretty good. It's never top of the line premium hardware though. And with all of these interchangeable pieces, I just hope they all fit together really well and they don't get rattly and they don't get, the last thing I want is to have all these little pieces be rattly and not fitting together or being squishy or being,
right,
not fitting well. They need to really get that super precise if they're going to do that.
Well, it's not like it would be super difficult for them to exchange a D-pad for buttons, right? I've taken apart plenty of DSs, and the circuit boards on either side look very similar. So you could easily make a part that swaps out a D-pad for a set of 4 buttons, and not really lose anything far as like
exactly the same. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I agree there. I'm talking more of actually taking those in and out and figuring those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a huge fear.
If you've ever played with knockoff Lego, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right? Where like those pieces, they should be going together, but they're just not going together quite right. Like that's the.
Well, I mean, look at the NES. How many people had to jerry rig, some kind of mechanism to get the games to register on their NES and stick other stuff in the console to get it stuck, because taking it in and out so much, widened that slot.
Yeah, for sure. Justin, you have any thoughts on this before we move on, good sir?
I think for all of these patents, companies sometimes just file patents for the sake of filing patents and owning the idea, right? So that nobody else gets to it. This does not mean that the NX will have swappable buttons or that it will have detached side controllers, right? So just a patent for patent's sake. Let's stay logical until we see it released.
Hey, enough of your call for reason, all right? I've had enough.
All I'm saying.
All right, let's get into what
I'm still hoping for a September announcement, so we've got 6 weeks left before we start breaking down walls in Washington.
Yeah. All right, let's get into what we've been playing, shall we? All right. So, Kris, being our guest, we will let you start off. What have you been playing, good sir?
Well, as you guys can see, I had to write it down because
what haven't you been playing?
Yeah.
I'm kind of ADD and I lose interest in things pretty quickly. Well, Justin, I kind of wanted to highlight in the fact that Justin was on our podcast recently because we kind of stole your idea a little bit about doing with the Retro Rewind. We call it our Video Game Monthly. So this month we're playing Mega Man 2, but we all got through it before like the 10th. So then we tacked on Mega Man X. So I'm currently playing through X, and it's significantly harder than Mega Man 2. And I've never played a Mega Man game really ever until this month.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Great.
I don't know. They're okay.
I like it. Nice.
I'm going through Box Boy. I finished Box Boy. Box Boy. I mean, if you haven't heard of these, they're made by HAL Laboratory, who made all of the Kirby games. They had a big hand in the original Smash Brothers and Melee, and several other things. So the Box Boys, it's great. It's a puzzle platformer. Have you guys played this yet?
I've played Box Boy. I haven't played the sequel, but
I've played Box Boy.
Yeah, they're really good. I really recommend them. It's a little character that makes boxes and puzzles. It's fun. I'm trying to get through Codename Steam.
How far are you in that?
I am on the 6th or 7th chapter.
Okay.
So I don't know how many chapters there are. I like it, but I don't like it as much as I like Fire Emblem, because for those that don't know, it's made by the same company.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it as much.
It definitely.
I think
it's really. I don't know. I think they didn't really deliver on the fantasy that they promised with that game. I think that's honestly my biggest problem with it, is that they had so much of the comic vibe, and then it kind of fell flat.
But Will Wheaton's a voice actor in the game. What can go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? And yeah, I don't know. It's just it's fun. Like there's lots of cool stuff. Like I would see a character and be like, oh man, it's freaking Randolph Carter from all the Lovecraft books. That's sweet. That, like, I'm totally excited for this. Or it's the lots of different characters, and it's Tom Sawyer or this and that, and it's just like
Scarecrow.
Oh, yeah, Scarecrow, and then like, oh, never mind. It's nothing happened from that.
Yeah,
But,
it's not
like,
that significant.
yes, you see it, but it's not like they. I guess they don't do enough with the actual properties. They don't celebrate them enough. They kind of they literally just pull them out and plop them into the game, but it's not a celebration of those characters like it should be.
It's almost like somebody was like, "Hey, I just read this book this weekend. Can we throw this guy in there?" Yeah, okay, whatever.
But they don't really. They don't. I guess they. And to a certain extent, I think that's a little bit to be expected, because this is a Japanese developer taking all of this American literature, and they don't really have the appreciation for what these characters and what all of this mythos, like the entire villain, right? This alien species is all this Lovecraftian sort of these aliens, all inspired by H.P. Lovecraft stuff, and yet they don't really seem to have an appreciation for what makes the Lovecraft monsters really cool. They just kind of throw them in there and just say, "Hey, there's a picture of an alien. Put that in there." And it's like, well, realize what the atmosphere was, and these, all of that sort of stuff goes along with it. Where and they really don't have that appreciation for it. It's like you take those characters, and this is like the manga version of those, which is not that great. So.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know. I don't think it deserves quite as bad a rap as everybody seems to give it, but it's not fantastic.
It's still a pretty fun game. It's just it could have been so much more.
The game was improved with the patch, so presuming you're playing with the patch installed, you're already playing the best version of the game.
I'm also playing Yoshi's Woolly World, and I'm trying to get through that, and I'm going through very slowly because I'm trying to 100% the game.
Good
luck.
I
wish I didn't have that mentality. Because it's like every level, 5 flowers, 20 stamps, 5 yarn Yoshis, and finish it in full life. And even if you have like the power up that lets you see hidden stuff, sometimes you don't find everything. It's just super frustrating. I beat Shovel Knight the other night.
Nice.
Finally. And so what?
Oh yeah, so the Shovel Knight campaign?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And I played the first level of Plague Knight, and I was like, holy cow, this feels like an entirely different game, like from the bottom up. It feels completely different. So I like that. I'm trying to get through Omega Ruby Alba Sapphire. I have Omega Ruby. And I don't like it. No. I think with Ruby, or with at least Omega Ruby, I'm not entirely sure with Ruby. I think they just tried to throw too much into a video game that already had too much. I just don't think I don't think it works
See,
personally.
It's pretty bloated.
My son actually likes how bloated it is. He told me, yeah, I beat the main story, and now you can pick a Gen 2 starter, and then now I can get this this legendary, and oh crap, I can't get the other legendary. I need Alpha Sapphire. Can we buy that one too? I'm like, you want to play the game twice? Yes.
Oh my
And I talked about that last week too. He beat the Elite Four.
Yeah.
In less
like 24 hours or something.
Yeah, he got the game on Tuesday, and by time we recorded Wednesday, he had beaten the main game and starting into the. I'm like, did you not sleep last night, dude?
That's so funny.
Like,
He's got like stink lines coming out from him, like something. Just
I know, because I know he was trading Pokemon back and forth between his other games, so he OP'd the whole game definitely.
Oh
yeah.
Definitely.
But
The last two games that I've been.
But if you play through the Pokemon 2 full Pokemon games, you have the right to OP as much as you want, because that's not a small feat.
The last two ones I've been playing are Pokemon Uranium and AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. And we were talking a little bit about this before the show. Not all of you guys have played it or downloaded it or knew it existed or something. So where do you guys stand on these?
I tried.
opinions.
I tried the AM2R crashed while I was playing it, and I was like, oh well, I kind of looked at it. I didn't go back, and I haven't really tried either of them. Yeah. So
I tried AM2R, and during the initial, I got out of the ship and run around a little bit. I am able to go into the morph ball. I'm like, great, swell. So I go into the next screen to the right, dig down to a part where I need them to turn into the morph ball, and I'm unable to. I'm like, I don't know what happened. So I just I stop the game and I'll go back to it later. So the game bugged up on me already.
Yeah, I had a bug where every time I would jump, if I held down the jump button, Samus would point diagonally down. So I had to jump, and then at the apex of my jump, release the jump button so I could fire straight. So that was frustrating.
The big problem with that is the default controls are wonky, and so you want to tune the controls to what you think makes more sense. And if there's a conflict, weird things will happen.
And I was using a 360 controller too, so that
yeah. See, I need to get a controller because I was trying to play it on a keyboard, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I picked up a new controller just so I can try to play this game, and it didn't work well.
Yeah. However, the Pokemon Uranium, I really feel like it's not as good as a lot of people are saying it is.
I wish I could use a controller for that one too. But
you can.
I couldn't figure out how to do it. I didn't see any options.
There was a Reddit post that said to download an application called Joy to Key.
Oh,
JOYTO.
Yeah, I played with that a long time ago, but yeah,
it worked really well for me.
What are your thoughts on it then?
Well, so initially, as the professor's introducing the game and everything, he's like, "Yeah, these are Pokemon, which are different than normal animals." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, animals don't exist in Pokemon." That's number one. Seems like a lot of people who fan make a game would know a lot about the lore, and I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, and I know that there's not actual animals in the world of Pokemon.
Right. Okay.
The music does not loop well. In fact, it's they made a track and then it just starts out when you step out of your house and there's that small piece of intro music before it goes into the bit that loops. They don't have the bit to where it loops back to the loopable part. It just stops and then it starts over with that intro piece again. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, that is weird.
It's not very, and some of the music just isn't very good. The story highlights your parents. One of your mother died, and then your father basically abandons you because he buries himself in his work, and that's not very Nintendo.
Wow, that sounds almost like it almost sounds like freaking mother territory.
Oh yeah, it definitely
developers
does.
did say the story gets dark, and I've gotten about an hour into that game too, and I kind of have an idea of where this is going to go.
Yeah. I think I know as well. I think I know what you're thinking.
It's pretty obvious. Otherwise, why give me that story?
And there's some bugs in the game, not actual bug Pokemon, but there's bugs in the game where like when the other Pokemon attacks you, like Pidgey used Gust. In the normal games, you actually have to confirm that text box, like Pidgey used Gust. In this game, it doesn't. It kind of steamrolls right through it, so you have to watch really quickly what the other Pokemon does to you. Even slowing down the text speed doesn't really help that much. And then there's like a Pokedex bug where when you register a new Pokemon, if there's too much text, like you can't scroll down to see the next little bit. Some of the Pokemon designs are not very polished. They look kind of confusing. Like they could use a little bit of touch-up work. However, there's two good things I have to say about this. One is that when you're facing off against a wild Pokemon, if you have already caught the Pokemon, there's a tiny little Pokeball icon in their health bar. And I'm like, why hasn't this been a thing forever? Because with Omega Ruby that I've been playing, I get discouraged with it, so I'll put it down for like a week and then pick it back up, and then I'm like, oh crap, what do I have in my? Have I ever seen this thing? So I have to like put it back down or pick up the Pokedex and find out where it is. So
actually, I was under because I've been playing Pokemon X with my son, and if you have caught it before, it will have a little Pokeball next to the Pokemon's name if you've caught it before. So that's been in the games.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never seen that. Which game was that from?
That was in X and Y. I'm pretty sure. Omega
it may have been added for that generation, and that game is I think has been had like 9-year development cycle, so it had to start with Gen 3, which is why it looks like a GBA game, but it's taken on certain features of the future games as well. Like, have you done the mystery gift?
No.
If you choose mystery gift, right at the main menu, you'll get 2 items. You'll get an item and a Pokemon. You'll get like a shiny version of an electric type.
Oh, cool. The only other good thing I have to say about this is that in one of the cities, like early on in the city, you go in the Pokemon Center, and there's a guy sitting really close to the desk, and he's like, "Yeah, I have these 4, simple normal Pokemon, and we keep losing battles. You want to battle?" And I was like, "Right here in the Pokemon Center? Okay." And so, sure enough, a battle queues up, and you can fight him as much as you want. And not only do you get the experience points, and you have to walk 3 steps to go heal your Pokemon, but he gives you money every time too. So I sat there for like an hour just grinding, which I thought was really nice to add in. I would like to see in the future. I just don't see that being something Game Freak would do, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but I liked it.
I'm looking through the Pokedex here, just like all the different ones that are available. And I didn't realize that they'd added their own type to it. There's a nuclear type, and okay, cool.
That's part of the name.
Yeah. Uranium. There you go. Why wouldn't you call it like radiation type? I don't know. Nuclear seems weird, but that's just me.
Seems safer, actually. Safer word to use.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
Which again leads to the plot, the headcanon story in my head.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so like my impression is that it seems like it's for a fan creation. I don't know. It goes back to like, why wouldn't these people that spent 9 years doing this, I don't know, why not make a game that they can sell?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like you could sell this. You could have done a very similar game. You could have, with all of the character design that was going on here, they could have basically made their own game and sold it. But because they tied it to the Pokemon brand, they can't. And that's the thing that confuses me more than anything. So
I wonder how Pokemon or how Nintendo would have taken it if the development team behind AM2R never ever once released to the public information about the game they were making. And they came forward at the very end of production and said, "Hey, Nintendo, we have this full game produced. It's Metroid 2, done in the style of Super Metroid. It's done. All you have to do is take it and put it on your platforms." I wonder if Nintendo would take it at that point.
I doubt it, because I have a feeling that like there are so many legal issues that go on with stuff like that because a similar thing happened with with just the fan translation of Mother 3.
That's true.
They did that so long ago, and
still
at
nothing.
the time I remember hearing that there may be some serious legal issues doing that because the work had been done before any agreements had been signed and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure if there's anything that goes. Surely they could come to some sort of deal if it was really there, but the amount of basically they would have to have their guys check the code from all the code from
front to back, play test it and everything
in order to release it under Nintendo's own name.
And how much of the code is portable directly, or how much of it will have to be rewritten?
Right.
I don't know what Wii U programming looks like or 3DS programming looks like. That'd be a nice question for Sarin if we get her on one day.
Yeah. I will say, speaking of the Mother Earthbound series, I will say that is probably my only prediction for NX is that at launch or very close to launch, they will announce Mother 3 for the US. That's my prediction.
I still think that they're going to have some sort of a collection or a remaster of the game when they release it. That's the only to make it worth their while, to have that translation, but also to have some sort of a remaster collection, I think is likely how they'll release that. And so they can do a physical, because right now they could release it as a virtual console and kind of do it that way, or they can blow the doors off, have a collection and have it be a retail release and make more money that way. So.
Oh yeah. And they would sell the pants off of it.
Oh yeah, they totally would.
Why sell 3 games for $10 each when you can sell all 3 of them together for $40?
Yeah,
exactly. 60.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be 60, but it would definitely be.
It would be if it was on a home console
and had amiibo support.
Yeah, boom.
I still think it would be only a $40 game.
Yeah, keep dreaming. I don't know.
I will.
40 American, 60 Canadian.
That's fair. Yeah. That's very fair.
Yeah. Justin, what about you, man? What have you been playing this week?
Nothing.
Me neither.
I've played Pokemon Go. That's all I've been playing. It's been a rough week, buddy. No Pokemon Go. Still playing it. The kids still love playing that game. So that's exciting. But I have games next week that I will definitely be getting my hands on.
I'm looking forward to your review of Style Savvy.
Yes, Style Savvy.
I'm actually, you know what? I'll be honest. I'm a little bit jealous that you're going to be the one playing that game, because it showed up at your house.
Yeah. So I today received some mail, and I opened a package from NOC, and it was Style Savvy, the 3DS game. So we got a review copy. We're excited for that. So my daughters are actually going to play it. I'm going to play a little bit with them. Kind of get my own opinion, but we're going to do a bit of a girls' review, and we're going to let them have a go at it. So that's exciting. Plus, we've got
Actually sit down and play it, because you'd be surprised at how good the game mechanics are in this game. I'm just gonna say that I played the demo, and it had.
You're still talking about the same game, right?
Yeah, yep. Style Savvy.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. No, I did play the demo because I had heard so many positive things about the series. So
I went to a garage sale recently and walked, and it was one of those garage sales where you kind of drive up to it and you're about to drive away, and I was like, I think I'll walk up and see what they have here. And I walked all the way up, and they had a box, and in the box was an original DS with like 5 games. And the DS was kind of like chipped, the housing was chipped a little bit. And I just kind of said, hey, how much do you want for this? And she goes, oh, I have no idea. I said, what, $10? And she goes, okay, take it, the whole box. And I said, okay.
Like,
and there was a style, there was a Style Savvy game in there. And I actually have this like really detailed Excel sheet of all the games I own that have like I've opened all my NES cartridges, and I have the chip numbers in there, and I have what companies manufactured and devved the games and everything, right? Like I keep really detailed logs of stuff. And so I looked up Style Savvy, and I was like, what, Nintendo made this? Like, this is an in-house game.
Yeah, because we didn't get truth be told, we didn't know this was coming to us. So I was like, oh, there's got to be the PR kit for it for me to take a look at it and get some more information. And it wasn't yet available on NOA's site. So then I kind of did some just digging into it. I was like, whoa, hey, wait a second. This is from Nintendo. Like, to your point, Chris, I was kind of shocked. I was like, oh, this is interesting. So as we mentioned before, Style Savvy and Metroid both released in the same day. 2 games come in, 2 games enter the cage, 1 comes out, and we suspect it'll be Sparkles. Sparkles and Glitter. So, but my 2 girls are super excited for Style Savvy. So we're gonna play it together and see what happens, and then I'll play Federation Force also.
Yeah, on NWR's website, Zach Miller did a review of the game, and the very first sentence is, "I'm a classy lady."
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Justin being a
You
class.
know who's not a classy lady? This guy.
Oh, Justin, you can be. You believe in yourself.
I can. So I will tell kind of a bit of a funny story though. Took the kids Pokemon hunting a couple days ago. Rylan has the thing, and they were about to leave. We've been hunting downtown Lethbridge for about 45 minutes. I'm like, time to go, time for dinner. And I look down, and there's a pink haze circling my body. And I was like,
Oh,
she put down an incense. And I didn't think it was an incense. I thought it was lucky egg. So what do I start doing? I start evolving all my Pidgeys.
Oh no!
All my Pidgeys. And I'm like, it's okay, I can handle this right now. I'll just do
He's
this,
like,
do
go,
this, do
go,
this.
go.
I was like, I got it covered. And I was like looking down, I was like, why didn't I level up at all? And then I was like, oh, I am the worst person in the world. So yeah, a lot of Pokemon failing is what I did as well. So
nice. So what level are you now?
16.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm
20.
getting there. Nice.
I haven't played a whole lot lately. I've kind of lost steam on
IVA.
on that.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm like 19, level 19, so I've got I've got almost all the common Pokemon, and so now it's like, well, do I want to wander around my town looking for rare Pokemon all day, every day? Not really, right? So
Not until they give us a tracking feature back.
You know what we found today was the seal.
yeah, nice.
And what else did we get? We got a Ponyta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot
those were-
that you're not into Pokemon games. You said the seal, and I was like, wait, which one?
Yeah.
Kiss
I was like, that's not even how you spell seal. 2 E's? That ain't right, y'all.
The artist.
So,
I may not be educated that much, but I know something's not right here.
that doesn't seem that's not right.
The singer from Space Jam.
Yeah, exactly. Kissed by a rose.
There
Kissed
you
by
go,
a
man.
rose.
Right here.
Wow.
You
All
heard
right,
that
Wait,
up
was that one?
unusually
Jesus
fast.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Not unusually fast if you know he just always has that queued up in his list.
That's just number one. I could only play that much. Hopefully, we didn't get flagged on YouTube for that. But, anyways, yeah, and I haven't really played anything. I did want to talk briefly. My son recently beat Pokemon X, and he's 5. He's almost 6, but he beat that, and he's been. I showed him how to go to the daycare and get eggs of Pokemon. And so, like, he's just doing that randomly all the time. I'll like get home from work, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I took my bear tick to the daycare, and I got an egg, and it was a little teddy bear with an icicle booger, and it was awesome." I was like, "Sweet, dude!" And so then he also we bought or I had downloaded is it Pokemon Shuffle, Justin?
Everybody is shuffling.
And
Yeah.
I downloaded that for him. I'm like, I don't know if he's actually going to figure this out or whatever, but whatever. We'll see how he does. And he's like on like level 40, I think, and he's caught almost every single one of them up to that point. So
Wow.
crazy. And which for him, I don't know how many stages there are in that, but 40 stages in already. I'm like, wow, dude. Like, I'm impressed that you are using, like, you're able to beat these levels, and continue through that game. So, yeah, like 40 stages in on like a match 3 puzzle game, and he's 5. So, there you go. He's a smart kid. So,
I feel like you were gonna have a problem later in your life with him.
what with the gaming business?
He's just gonna like beat you at all games.
I know it's bad. It's
Just wait till he's 12 when he wants to play Call of Duty.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that.
Then you'll never get your access to your TV again.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. We're gonna go outside, boy. Right on. Let's get into.
What about Jesse?
Oh yeah. What about Jesse?
Jesse?
But,
Just kidding. Go ahead.
So, did Zach say what he played, or if he did, I
Yeah,
missed
just Pokemon Shuffle. There's just more.
Just
game.
Shuffle. Okay.
I didn't know.
Okay. Yes. Since we didn't have this segment last week, I had a few things I wanted to talk about from back then too. So I ended up finishing Ocarina of Time.
Nice.
And yeah, this was the first time I actually got all 100 of the gold Skullcatas. You know, you had definitely. I had to use a guide to find them all, but at least I found them all.
Oh, very cool.
So I think I've played the game maybe 5 or 6 times total, and this is the first time I've ever made that achievement.
Nice.
Very cool.
Okay, then I got.
Isn't the final reward for getting all the Skulltulas something super anticlimactic like a silver rupee?
Yeah, but it's basically infinite money because you can go back and get 200 rupee, get the silver rupee from him over and over again.
Oh, okay.
But at that point, you have no need for money.
Right.
I pretty well, other than the time when I bought like 10 bomb shoes for 300 rupees. Once the first time I got the giant wallet and it had a maximum of 500. I pretty much was never under 400 throughout the rest of that game.
Well, the only Zelda game that's really utilized rupees very well at all is A Link Between Worlds.
Yes. Yeah, there felt like a level of weight to that, right?
Yes.
Like if you die and you lose all your rentals, right? You've got to go back and re-rent that, so you've got to have that like over 1,400 rupees to be able to secure everything.
Right.
Right. I was kind of wished I could have more than the 500, even though there's nothing to spend it on. But 500 is the most you can get in that game. Then I also I got further into Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Nice.
Yeah, the last time I talked, I finished Chapter 2. Was in Chapter 2 intermission, and I was about halfway through it. So I got to sit down like almost all day Sunday and just veg out on that game. So I finished that intermission, played Chapter 3, and then did Chapter 3 intermission. I think that was almost 6 to 8 hours of gameplay just in that intermission. Because in that time I've during Chapter 3 I collected 2 additional playable characters. So they each will then have their own side quests to do.
Oh, pause. Are you back?
I'm here.
We didn't go anywhere. You did.
Yeah, no, it froze up. And so I very quickly was like, oh crap, I gotta save this file just in case my computer dies. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, uh-oh. Hello?
Hello?
No, that was actually the file.
Okay.
Oh.
Because it was weird that I heard you, but I didn't see your mouth moving.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought you were hosing up again.
Okay, we're back. So Tokyo Mirage Sessions, go.
Okay, so I'm not sure how far you heard before you had started having problems.
Start talking about it.
Just start over, huh? Okay, so Tokyo Mirage Sessions, the last time I talked about it, I was midway through the second intermission. This weekend, I had a chance to sit down and just veg out on it all day. So I finished the second intermission, played Chapter 3, and then I've played through all of Chapter 3 intermission, which that alone was like 6 to 8 hours of gameplay because in that time I collected 2 additional playable characters. So now I have a roster of 6. And each character will have their own side missions that can be unlocked once you get to a certain point. So I just kept on having new side missions unlock, and so it took me a long time to clear them out. I did have a question for anyone who's played a Fire Emblem game or
I'm out.
Before.
Okay, sure.
Are class changes a thing normally, or was it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was able to unlock class changes.
Yeah, so
Whoa.
generally there is like a basic class, and then that class can upgrade to a more advanced class. And then
Is it normal to have a choice of which class you want to go to?
yeah,
Yes.
usually like it seems like there's
Is it
like-
normally one is more balanced and on the side of good, and the other is you're kind of a jerk version of that?
sometimes, yeah.
Because
sometimes,
that's what I have the options for.
but sometimes it's like here is like for example an archer. When you upgrade an archer, you have the option of becoming like an I think it's it's either a sniper or like a flying Pegasus archer type person.
It's usually a sniper, or it's like a row, like a ranger. That's the other one.
Yeah, where you
you're on,
get
on
access
horseback.
to something like that.
Okay, so I upgraded Crom from Lord to Conqueror or whatever the jerk version of him was.
Cool.
And then one of my side characters, you pick up this like 10 or 12-year-old girl, and her,
Of course, like you do.
Of course
Yeah.
you do.
Right.
her
Oh, Japan.
her mirage is this knight. I don't know the characters, any of these characters. Y'all probably know who he is, Durag or something. I don't.
It could be from an older game too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's knight. So I was able to evolve him. I upgraded him to general, which is his nice form, nice upgrade.
Yeah, it's nice.
And she is your tank, literally.
Mhm.
It's like you get her as a ridiculous amount of hit points, and I got her up to like 50 now. And after the class upgrade, she's got like 1,200 hit points. And one of her innate abilities is if you're going to get hit with a spell, she will just bump you out of the way and take the hit herself.
Wow.
So she is literally your tank.
She's like the human shield. That's cool.
So I try to keep her in my party as much as I can. And I also unlocked an ability that it just her being in the party, everyone takes 10% less damage than they ordinarily would.
Mhm.
So it's a benefit all around. And I kind of did a little complaining on Twitter this weekend saying, oh, I'm stuck on this one boss. I feel like I'm underleveled, but just grinding is going to be nasty. And someone replied with, have you done the DLC levels? I'm like, what DLC levels? So apparently in the main room where you get your upgrades from, it's when you first enter the room, it's off camera, but if you look a little bit to the left, you'll see this new area you can go into if you've paid for the DLC or have the deluxe version like I have. And in there, you're able to do, one of 3 extra missions. One that gives you extra XP, one that boosts your levels of your weapons faster, and then one that just gives you harder weapons, enemies to kill, probably to help you get more money and more items.
And that's very Fire Emblem too.
Yeah. I did the XP one, and while you don't get a lot of XP for doing just normal killing in there, but what they do, they drop tomes, and when you consume a tome, you're pretty much given it's like 6,000 or 7,000 XP just free, up to the point when you can't gain any more XP until you get that level. So I would collect like 30 tomes, then I would use 12 of them, 2 for each character, and then I'd fight one other character, everyone levels up. Then I use 12 more tomes, fight once, everyone levels up. So it's a really fast way to grind. It's almost a win button, but it does require still a lot of it's time consuming just to go through this process, because when I found out about this room, I was in the levels 30 to 35, and now their characters, they're all between 50 and 52 now. So you
got to watch out, because I know in Fire Emblem, the newest one, the Conquest and Birthright, if you leveled up, the DLC and even like the main story characters would actually level up in difficulty with you. So you could be leveling up and thinking that you're getting way stronger, but the in-game enemies aren't getting any harder.
I didn't want to level up too fast, in fear of ruining it. But when I was doing these bosses from the side missions, I get to level 45. And I'm still not being able to beat it, so I'll grind a few more levels and try it again, and keep on doing that cycle until I do beat it. So what
I'm saying is that, like, even if you're leveling up to, even if you go back and you level up 5 more levels, the game might be leveling up with you. So you'll go back, and technically they're still kind of the same level, like in regards to what.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Okay.
I don't know yet whether it's actually doing that, because I did this entire level grinding part as part of level 3 intermission or chapter 3 intermission. So I finally finished the intermission, and next time I play it, I'll be starting chapter 4. And I think there's 6 chapters in the game.
So Jesse, tell us real quick, what is your current verdict on this game? Like, is it what you expected? Are you liking it still? Are you not liking it? What is it like? Tell me your opinion of this game thus far. As far as like the quality, is it still that Persona? The Persona.
It's pretty much exactly what I expected. It is very Persona. It is very J-poppy, and because
does it meet that standard of Persona?
I think so.
That's pretty high praise coming from you.
It's scratching that itch, and I'm worried that by the time I finish this game, will I be ready? Will I be ready for Persona 5 when that comes out in February, or will I still be burned out? Because I had that problem with Zelda. I played Twilight Princess last year, and so I couldn't play HD.
Mm-hmm.
I tried playing that, and I got 10 minutes in, and I'm like, no, I'm not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out what happens in February. But I do have the deluxe edition of that pre-ordered as well for February 14th.
I'm interested in this. I'm just not going to be in any place to play this right now. Maybe this will be my Christmas 2016 game.
Yeah,
just like Xenoblade Chronicles X was last year.
Yeah,
do they have a demo on the eShop?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That is, it seems, man, they always throw demos up for games that like I don't need a demo for. It seems like the more niche games you would want demos for.
What's that? You'd like Star Fox Zero 4 months after it was released? Why, here you go. Man, I also offer you some Splatoon 18 months afterwards, but only for 3 days and 2 hours. Oh, you'll love it. Oh, and Blast Ball. You mean the thing that you really actually want the game for? We're going to give it to you for free.
Yeah. But it has nothing to do with the actual game that's coming out.
By the way, Justin, we need to set up a time that we're going to play some Federation Force.
Yeah, we do.
Because that's happening. I guess this time tomorrow night we could be doing it, really.
We could be, but do we need more friends? And do we need to be local or can we play online?
Oh, of course it's online. Yeah.
Are you sure?
If that game is not online, dude, then we have issues.
There's a difference between being online and the online working.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, we'll see about
here's what I really think. I really think they took the
over the internet, right?
Yeah, so. I think they took the Triforce Heroes like frame and just like tacked on Metroid.
Yep, that's what it seems like.
I assume, but all the things I'm seeing is like you should be in a room with 4 friends. Let me ask all you this, all right? Any of you guys have 4 friends close enough to you that you can all sit around and play 3DS?
No qualifiers. Do any of you have 4 friends? Full stop.
Well,
full stop.
There are 6 3DSs in this house, so it depends on how much I can talk the kids into it.
No one said they were your friend. That's family.
They're obligated to talk to you because they're family.
True. Yeah. Well, anyway, going one more thing before we're done with Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So your 6 characters you to play are all part of this talent agency. So some of it, like 2 of them are singers, 2 of them are actors, and where you are just trying to. The main character is just trying to figure out what he is. He's just there. He's the moral support for everyone else.
He's the Persona character. Like, is he like that one? Like on Persona? In Persona, the original or the main character in that?
Pretty much, yeah. He does have more of a voice. He's not the mute hero by any means. He talks a lot, but he doesn't at this point. He still doesn't know why he's really there. He doesn't know why he has the ability he has.
Does he have amnesia?
He thinks he has but he thinks he has no talent. But his talent is getting other people to get the most out of themselves.
He's the producer.
Kind of. Yeah, so, all these side missions are basically focused around all the other characters in the game and helping them improve themselves, which then unlocks a new ability which helps you in the game by the end game.
Yep. Sounds like a producer, all about helping other people improve themselves.
Yeah, about picking up everyone else's trash is what it says.
Mm-hmm. Kris knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, all right, let's head into some listener mail, shall we? We're already an hour and a half.
No, we're not going to go listener mail. We need to give Kris some time.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't.
Community spotlight.
Oh, that's right.
That's why he paid us $20 to promote his show. Wait, what? No, that didn't happen.
What?
Wait,
Wait.
how come
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of this $20? What's going on
Wait,
here?
you didn't get the rest
You
of the
just
money?
play the bumper, all right? Just play the bumper.
I'm looking for. You know what? I had another bumper. Hang on. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's right here. No, wait for it. Wait. Hang on. Wait. Oh, now it's launching some weird. Hang on. Wait.
Do you have one called Josh Thomas bumper? It's very grandiose.
I've got this one. Hang on. What's this? What's this one sound?
Just
See,
press a button, buddy.
I'm working.
I'm about to pull up the
Episode
Here we go.
91. We're back in
Wars. She's
beta.
like almost there.
Now you're talking.
Just
Now you're
about.
talking over in it. Here we go.
Okay, I'm a squid.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, geez. All right.
This is good.
That was anticlimactic.
Let's like Chris talk about a podcast that actually knows how to use soundboards and audio clips properly. Tell us all about all that is nerd podcast there, Chris.
Yeah, we take care of that in post.
Oh,
We're
there
a
you go.
Our intro is that we're a podcast that dives deep into all your favorite nerdy topics with fans just like you. So what we do is we sit down and we talk about random nerdy topics, whether it be time travel, Firefly, things that aren't exactly sci-fi, or anything else really, just to talk about nerdy things with other nerds. But the one thing that we aim to do is actually bring on random people and talk about whatever their passion or hobbies are. So we actually kind of had a little bit of a rocky start with our podcast, but we're back and we're consistently pumping out material. And like I said, it's all done in post. It's all very heavily edited. So, you know, it's very, I try to make it pleasing to listen to because I'm the one who produces it. But we had a friend of mine named Matt come on last week, and he talked about wrestling, like WWE, WCW, and that kind of thing. I have never seen any wrestling ever before. I've only ever made fun of people who are into wrestling. And man, if he didn't actually make it sound interesting and worth watching, because he talked about the history, the rivalries, and why it's important to him, why people should watch it. And that's what we want to do. We want other people to find out about other hobbies they may or may not be into, whether that be anime or knitting or whatever it is. You know, we want people to come on and talk about it. So literally anybody, if you're listening, you're welcome to come on to the podcast. You know, just tweet us. We are at All Nerdcast on Twitter. Just get in contact with us. You know, maybe we'll have you come on the podcast.
I like it. Now you guys also have your kind of retro rewindy show as well. So talk to us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, we label that as a special edition of our All That Is Nerdcast. And you know, a friend of mine, Evan, who's on the podcast with us, he kind of hijacked the idea from you guys because he listens in as well. And he says, hey, maybe it would be great if we kind of did this. And, you know, we kind of did it ourselves. And then I was the one that kind of took it a step further and was like, well, if we're spending all this time, let's just do a podcast about it and talk about it. But we have intentionally, and I've told Justin this several times, we have intentionally, like, people have come up and suggested, like, hey, let's do Earthbound. Okay, well, let's not do Earthbound because Nintendo has just did that. Oh, okay, well, let's do Super Metroid. Well, let's not do that one either because they just did that one. So they keep like suggesting games, and I'm like, well, I'd love to do that, but let's give it like a month or two because Nintendo Dads did that, and it's not like I think that, you know, we're stealing any kind of like listener base from you in any regard. I really don't think we've had 25 people listen to our podcast this week. Like, it's nothing, right? So it's not that I think that we're stealing listener base. It's just a matter of like, you know, we don't want to step on anybody's toes, especially since we kind of stole the idea.
Well, I think in all fairness, we stole it from somebody else. I think.
Yeah,
Too.
all good
There's no fresh
podcasts.
ideas. It's the internet.
All good podcasts have had ideas stolen from at least 3 other podcasts.
Yeah.
There are no original ideas, period, on the internet.
Yeah. And so all of this is based off of a website called sluffwork.com. And on that website, I am the video game channel manager for the website. And mainly, they brought me on. They're like, hey, I think maybe we need to, Bill, who's our editor-in-chief, came to me and said, hey, we need some content for our site that's video game related, and we don't cover any Nintendo. So I hadn't talked to him in years, and he just kind of out of the blue was like, hey, would you like to do this? Kind of just, you know, write for our website. And I said, sure, I'll write something once in a while. And it's turned into like everything I write almost is, if it's not a Netflix show, I write about Nintendo. And so if you go to sluffwork.com, I've written tons of articles about Zelda and everything else. I just did a write-up on the most recent Nintendo Selects that they've come out with. And I did a very short write-up on every single one. and why you should buy it, because I own almost all of them, and I've played through almost all of them. So I do a little write up about why each game is good or whatever, because the purpose of the site is to help people waste their time and money more responsibly. Like it's kind of a review site, but with the dedicated mindset of like, here's why you should spend your time doing this thing, or here's why you shouldn't. So that's my little pitch for our podcast and our website. So All That Is Nerd, we'd love to have you listen. We'd love to have you join us at some point if anybody's listening.
Yeah,
Right.
I was fortunate enough to join you guys last month in July for Donkey Kong Country, and actually the month beforehand, if you guys don't have a chance or didn't, maybe you're all Donkey Kong Country'd out. You're like, no more, Justin, no more Donkey Kong Country. I'm done here. Make sure you check out their June episode because you guys did Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Which is just, I mean, you want to talk about a Super Nintendo classic that should already be on the 3DS. It isn't. That's fantastic.
I know.
And currently, you guys are playing Mega Man 2. You mentioned as well. I mean, that is prime classic stuff. So great games. So maybe if you're a fan of our show, also guys, make sure you subscribe to their stuff and play 2 games. Right? It sounds like you're going to be getting a good plethora of content, and their conversation is really deep and rich as well. I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Nice.
Right on, man. Well, thanks again for being on the show. It's been awesome having you. And yeah, right on. Everybody go check that out. Very cool.
Yeah, it's been great. I really appreciate you guys reaching out to me like this, and I will definitely give you guys a shout out when I'm on NVC next week.
Oh, there you go. Excellent. Good. Yeah. Tell Pear his emails aren't getting to us properly. Apparently. Thanks, buddy. I thought we were tight.
Sheesh. All right. Yeah, let's head into some listener mail now, shall we?
Sure.
Did you just say sure instead of do it?
I said sure. Do it.
Okay. All right. I'll let this half-hearted attempt slide this week.
All right. It's been a rough week, Zach.
What is this sure business, man?
Sure.
Why not? Go ahead.
I guess it's like Eeyore over here. Jeez.
Okay. I suppose.
But you know what you can never be Eeyore about is the fact that this section is brought to us by our amazing Patreon supporters. So head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, and for little as $1 a month, you can help us create amazing Nintendo Dads content. Thanks for everyone who currently supports us on patreon.com.
Right on. So I'll read the first one here. This is do we know who this is? Michael. This is from Michael, also known as @Pajama Prime on Twitter, which is a sweet Twitter handle.
And going to follow now.
Yeah. It says, "Hey dads, 2 questions for you today. Number 1, I'm curious what YouTube channels you guys watch for your Nintendo news /theories /let's plays, etc. I personally love Game Theory, Noggin, J-Wits, and M&JTV Pokevids." Okay, we've got writing in here. So let's stop with that one first. Justin, what do you use for your Nintendo videos? Who do you go to?
Yeah, so, not just because they're a friend of the show, but legitimately because they do amazing stuff, I go to Game Explain. Game Explain is my prime number 1 that I go to. And actually, then I kind of go to other ones in there as well. Who do I have in here? I do listen to a little bit of the Bit Block from Josh, again, not just because he's a
I've been a long fan of Josh for a long time, actually.
Yeah, I like his stuff. The game theorist I like. I think his stuff's pretty good. Did you know gaming? Kind of funny gaming. Depending on when they actually have Nintendo content, sometimes they just rant, but it's not bad at all. Obviously NVC there as well. Those are kind of the main ones that I kind of go to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look through mine here. At one point I thought I had a list here, but I guess I don't.
I go to on my YouTube what I subscribe to, and then I just go from there. So, and usually what I'll do is I'll see a video and I'll just hit watch later, add a whole bunch to my queue, and just start kind of in the background while I'm working, kind of let it play.
Yeah, I honestly the main ones I Roger, Josh, and Game Explain are the main ones for me, actually. Although I don't watch nearly as much as I used to. I'm looking to see if there's anybody else here. No, that's pretty much it. I guess Nintendo Dan has always got some good stuff going there. Nintendo Dads is pretty good.
They're all right.
Yeah, you know what? They're not as good as some of the other guys.
Bunch of amateur schmucks. That's what they are.
I know, right?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. What about you, Jesse? I know you've got a few other ones, don't you?
Yeah, I'm actually looking through my list and trying to filter through like the gaming ones versus the comic ones and a lot of the other junk ones in there that I have to filter out. But yeah, Game Explain is probably the big one. I like Matt Pat's Game Theory. I like his Film Theory too, but that's not games. Noggin, as you said, is good. I actually suggested in the private line chat that we try to get him on. I don't know if that was ever noticed or not. Gaijin Goomba and his wife Aki are pretty funny.
I've got another one for it. This is actually more for his channel is mostly just him playing or opening packs of Pokemon cards, but me and my son watch it like over breakfast all the time. Like we'll just watch it while we're eating our cereal. Is Unlisted Leaf. And he's just like this ridiculous. I think he's from New Zealand or Australia or something like that. And he just opens them up, and he's kind of bombastic and ridiculous, and he's kind of a good time. So
there's another channel, Mikey Taylor Gaming. He'll do a few different styles of videos. The one that I like is he does a thing called Glitch Picnic. So he'll show you all the different glitches in certain games.
Cool.
Treesicle, that they do a lot of more current games, very much like Matt Pat does as well. Like a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's videos, a lot of Overwatch stuff as well. But Zoom in Games, they'll have a top 7 or top 8 list of whatever category, almost every day and during the work week. Mm. Apparently, my son has like 3 or 4 channels set up that I'm subscribed to. I don't know why he doesn't consolidate them into one.
Another one that I forgot to add that I want to add is Nintendo Impact Gaming.
It rings a bell.
Yeah, he actually follows us. He's talked to us a fair bit too, but he does some really good stuff. He's from Ireland actually as well. So.
Okay.
It feels different when I do that. When it's you, like a listener from Ireland.
So this channel isn't necessarily designed for the end users. It's meant for the developers. But a channel called Extra Credits, very good weekly show there. This one hasn't had a lot of episodes lately, but there's a channel called Major Third that'll talk about the inspirations of certain music behind classic video games.
Like that's cool.
They had like a 3 or 4 part thing of Final Fantasy, when the channel started.
So Kris, how about you, sir?
I was afraid that you guys would take all of mine, but apparently there's a few that I watched that you guys didn't mention. There's a new one I found. A Redditor posted it. He's kind of like, yeah, it's a new thing I'm starting. Let me know what you think. It's called Boundary Break. Have you guys seen this yet?
No,
I haven't heard that one.
Basically, what he does is he kind of goes in and he's able to move the camera inside games.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, and kind of go where you're not supposed to go.
Didn't they do in Luigi's Mansion?
I don't know if he's done Luigi. I haven't seen that one yet. If he has, he did one where he went into Wind Waker and went to like the Sunken Hyrule and kind of explored around there. And he's been doing Ocarina of Time for the past like week or two. And he's about to release it the next day or two. So that's a really good one. If you've ever wondered, the
username is SHESEZ or Z. Wow, Canadian town. Shezes. Yeah. So, anyways,
he says, she says. What's wrong with that?
She says. There you go. That's infinitely better than what I just botched. But anyways.
Yeah, he's really great though. The Boundary Break. Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. I just thought it was called Boundary Break, but I guess I missed that. Yeah, She says. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So the next one, obviously, Game Theorist. I love his channel. Did You Know Gaming? Gaijin Goomba. You guys have already said all these. Nintendo News Network. Have you guys seen this one? It's a pretty good show. They got a nice little bumper at the beginning that looks really professional. They talk about different news and stuff. I honestly get most of my news through podcasts. So every week I listen to Nintendo Dads, Nintendo Voice Chat. I just downloaded Nintendo News Week, and I started listening to them every week as well. So I listen to all three of those every week about Nintendo stuff. There's Peanut Butter Gamer. He does a lot of fun. I think he's kind of funny. Smooth McGroove. He does acapella stuff.
McGroove is awesome.
I love him. He's great. JonTron's funny. He's a little bit of a potty mouth sometimes, so watch it around your kids. But JonTron's funny. It's super effective. Has a bunch of gaming facts. Like 25 facts about Banjo-Kazooie. Chad Tronic is also kind of funny. He looks at a lot of commercials and advertisement stuff. He did one about Pokemon and this guy who was teaching a bunch of people at church that it was satanic, and it was pretty funny. He was like laughing his butt off. It's pretty funny. And the last one that I have on here is My Smash Corner. I like to play Smash a little bit competitively. And My Smash Corner teaches about a lot of different moves. Like they just came out with one that's kind of like wave dashing, but for Smash 4, which is basically where like you take a step forward and then like you step forward and tilt down or something, and you like wave dash quite a bit of ways. So it's My Smash Corner. If you're into competitive Smash, go look at that. Or if you're into competitive Smash, you probably already know.
Very cool.
There's one more thing, one more that I wanted to mention that I thought just remembered. Channel's called Really Freaking Clever.
I've heard of that one.
So he kind of has two types of shows. One is the Really Freaking Clever, where he talks about a game, talks about how good it is or how creative it is for its time or whatever, and how how clever it is. And then the other side of his channel is 64 things wrong with insert game here. And on a large game like any Zelda game, he'll end up with like 6 or 7 episodes of 64 things wrong with. So he'll come up with 500 things wrong with the game. So
nice.
He goes through pretty fast with some of his stuff, though, I believe.
What's that?
I said I think he goes through pretty fast with some of his things that they got wrong. I'm watching it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he kind of zips through them, kind of like CinemaSins does.
Yeah, because they're still 10 to 15 minute videos, and if you
yeah.
So it is
all
rapid
right.
fire.
Yeah. All right, we got it. We got like we were literally like 3 lines into our 2 pages of emails, so we got to keep moving. All right, so the second
email.
question. Yeah, it is. So the second question that Michael's got is, as a constant overthinker of fiction for many different fandoms, I love the theories people come up with to fill in the plot holes and story gaps that many games, especially Nintendo, have in their finished projects. What is the best theory that you've heard recently or ever? I still love the incredibly plausible game theory that Jumpman from Donkey Kong is not Mario, but Mario/Luigi's father. Then this then led to my own theory that every Mario with a different profession is actually an uncle or cousin of Mario/Luigi. Dr. Mario is really Dr. Monkey. Wow. Dr. Mario is really Uncle Tony Mario. Thanks for reading through my long questions, Michael. And then there's a PS here that says, one comment that you may have had before, please stop saying Pokemon. I can forgive Jesse for being an American, but as a Canadian, Zach, which, by the way, he spelled wrong. But anyways, Zach and Justin should know what the accent on the E does. Remember your grade 9 French, people. Actually, I never had grade 9 French. I took like grade 11 French and didn't do very well.
I took French in grade 11 too.
I know that it's actually Pokemon, but that is not how I've ever said that word. And it's almost pretentious how some people will say Pokemon and really enunciate that, and it drives me crazy. So I
Pokemon.
And you know what? Yeah.
20 years of bad habits, just like Mario.
Hey,
Yeah,
shut your dirty Mario mouth.
You call it Mario, and you know what? Mario and Pokemon, it's all the same. Whatever. It's all the same wonderful thing.
Calling a Mario is like putting your shorts on backwards to me. Like it just
You know what?
feels.
Some people just need that extra little bit of air room to breathe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't know where you're going with that. Anyway, so yeah, the Jumpman being Mario's father. I think I even mentioned that a week or two ago.
I think so. Yeah. I love this, and I know that this one's basically almost confirmed. Not confirmed, but I love the with Majora's Mask where basically that Link is dead through the whole thing. I love that one.
Yeah, and the whole game is the progression of the stages of grief.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would be my favorite.
I love the theory that the characters from Star Fox had their legs cut off to be able to fly better.
Wait, what?
Have you not
Yeah.
heard this?
No.
Yeah.
Look
To
look at the original box art on the SNES. They have metallic legs.
They're all metal legs, and to be able to basically stand the G forces that they experience in space and dogfight, their legs are removed to better assist with like blood flow and stuff.
Yeah, but Matt Pat debunked that one. So
Well, Matt Pat set it up, and then he actually asked, basically asked of like, so is this why they're taking off? And he's like, what was it? No, we just drew them with gray legs or whatever it was. Like it was just like
they're boots.
Yeah, basically, right? But it was like I kind of love that theory.
That's cool.
What other one have I heard before? Samus is actually Zelda.
What?
Yeah,
I haven't heard that one.
That's cool. I like that.
That was one where Peach is Rosalina's mother.
Yeah. Peach is Rosalina's. Oh no, yeah. What? I thought it was the other way.
Rosalina is Peach's mother.
Rosalina and Luigi are together and had Peach.
No,
that's the thing.
I think it's Luigi and Peach had Rosalina.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Luigi and Peach.
Yeah.
That hussy. I don't know.
Wow.
Just sleeping around, doing her
I didn't expect that response.
Yeah. Hey, man. She was supposed to be Mario's gal. I don't know.
You escalated that quickly.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? She's not real. I'll tell you a little secret. She's not real.
Shut up.
Kris, do you have any other ones that we haven't talked about yet?
I mean, all those that you said really are the only ones I can point to. With nothing coming out in Nintendo, as I scroll through Reddit and the 14 different Nintendo related subreddits that I follow, like all that comes up across all of them is, what if this happened, and what if NX looks like this, and what if Breath of the Wild, this is what happens. And honestly, I'm just kind of sick of it. Like, I'd rather just get some freaking actual legit news to talk about than like,
You know
I like theories and everything. And I honestly, when I played the Metroid Prime trilogy, when I was a teenager, I sat through and I was like theorizing on like who the Chozo were, and Samus's origins, and was she like orphaned, or did the Chozo find her in a crash wreck or something like that and raise her, and whatever. So I've had my own theories and stuff, but to me at this specific moment in time, theories and stuff are getting a little long in the tooth for me.
That's apparently in a manga that's canon, but that was only released in Japan.
Nice. Here's my other favorite rumor, by the way, or my fan theory: the Zelda timeline. It's not real. Yeah.
I feel like that was busy work for some intern, and they are greatly regretting that decision.
Andre, stop. Just don't. All right. Next one, Justin. You want to read this one?
Sure. Hey, dads, I recently discovered your show, and I'm really enjoying it. You guys have a great mix of humor, insight, and thoughtful discussion. I also love the After Dark episodes and look forward to the next one. Doctor Strange? Possibly, yes. We may be doing one earlier than that, but Doctor Strange will probably be up there. And it goes into, my question is, have you ever had a game experience ruined by someone or the situation in which you played the game, i.e. not by a spoiler? I used to live with a good friend, and we had to share the only TV in the house. He had a 360 and it was into Assassin's Creed and Mass Effect. I had a Wii, and I just got my hands on Skyward Sword. As a huge Zelda fan, you can guess my excitement was extremely high. Problem was, every time I played, my roommate would make negative comments about the game, especially the graphics, how slowly Link climbed ladders, the annoying dungeon puzzles, etc. At the time, I didn't think much of it and largely ignored him. But when I moved out and replayed the game this year, I realized that his constant negativity and commentary had completely ruined my initial experience of the game. I wasn't able to get into the story and enjoy the world, and I found that I was constantly disappointed by the graphics, not to mention how much I hate having to climb ladders. I'm thankful I took the time to replay it and really appreciate the game, but will always remember my first experience being a negative one. Anyways, I'd love to get your thoughts on any similar experiences you guys may have had. Cheers, Ben.
What do you think, Justin? I actually have it's a similar experience, but not. So, do you guys have anything? Maybe I'll just give mine first.
I can't
Why don't you give yours first while we
think of
think?
anything.
Because
Yeah,
apparently you have something.
No, so I'm thinking of it, like it's a similar sort of thing where so I've talked a lot on this show about how when Pokemon Red and Blue came out, I want to say like grade 7 or grade 8. So what is that? 12, 13, 14, 13 probably. And I know a lot of people around that age were like, "Oh, I'm not going to be into stuff. I'm like," you start getting into that cool kid mode. But I was very much like, I was like, "No, this is cool. This is what I like. I'm not gonna, I was unapologetic in what I liked, and so I was like, no, I enjoy this and whatever. But there were the cool kids in school who saw that I enjoyed something that they did not enjoy, and therefore took it upon themselves to make fun of me for it.
Therefore, you had to be wrong.
Right, of course, right? I mean that makes sense. And it did bother me that they were kind of like, "Oh, hey, there's, sort of typical sort of stuff that would go on." But I remember this one experience of, a couple of the jocks, there's always like the one jock who's like secretly a geek as well, secretly at home going and playing his video games too, but he doesn't want to say anything. I remember a couple of the jocks kind of coming by and talking to me one day and be like, hey, come over here. And I was like, oh, hell. Right? Like, what do you want? Like, I've got my Game Boy Color. I'm walking home from school. I've got my Game Boy Color, and I'm kind of like playing it as I'm walking home or whatever. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna steal this? Thinking in my head. And they're like, let me see this. Like, actually interested. And I sit like on the corner with these two jocks for probably like 5 or 10 minutes. They're like, oh, this is actually a really cool game. I really like this. This is awesome. And I was like, yeah, it is. You're right. And they're like, oh, cool. See ya. And I was like, what? Like the weirdest experience of like, what is your problem? Like this sort of thing where their buddies had been making fun of me for playing it and stuff like that. It was just the weirdest experience of like, okay, there's clearly this sort of social expectation that the jocks make fun of the geeky kids, right? And it was just such a weird experience for me that I've always remembered of like, see, maybe it's not really me being as much of a weirdo as I thought I was, and it's not really so much about this game, and there's so much more social commentary or so many more other things going on other than what I was, just between that one really vocal kid who probably didn't have a mother who loved him or something. You know what I mean? So it was just interesting. It didn't necessarily mean that if anything, it actually increased my enjoyment of that game because it kind of reaffirmed that, oh, you know what? Actually, I've had this opinion that screw you guys, I like this game, and then it almost had that reaffirmed as those guys were kind of secretly coming to me and be like, oh yeah, I actually am really interested in this. So anyway.
One of the questions is I was kind of sitting here thinking about is I'd kind of ask Ben if I wonder if the second playthrough that you're having and that kind of the ghost of negativity sitting behind you is really actually that, or whether it is the reality of the situation, the reality of the game, and yourself a year or two later being away from the hype that was originally creating the excitement that you created that kind of masked maybe some of those challenges that were there, that someone who didn't have that same level of hype and excitement kind of saw clearly, right? Because I think sometimes when we're so hyped and excited about something, we kind of just let things go. Like, oh yeah, he just goes up the ladder a bit slow, but that's okay. It's a bit sluggish, but it's okay. It's Zelda, it's Link, it's amazing, right? Because you're so excited, you've got a fresh game, you're pumped, all your other friends may be playing it, you've got a really good community experience. But later, a couple of years later, when it's just you kind of by yourself and that hype's gone, does all that glitter and shine just kind of disappear because you're not in that pocket anymore? Does that make sense, Zach? I'm looking at you as our psychiatrist.
Here we have Dr. Justin now.
Yeah, no, I was actually about to say,
I only play one on a podcast.
I like how over the past several weeks we almost have this sort of recurring like psychoanalysis segment going on at the end of the listener mail, but I like it. What I'm remembering, Justin, is the discussion we've had over the last couple of weeks of how nostalgia really sometimes has nothing to do with the game either, right? Mm-hmm. Where it has more to do with, as you play this game, you're remembering all of the other stuff that was going on, and how important remembering your previous experience and all the relationships you had with other people. For him, it almost feels like, oh, I'm playing this game and I really, it's a pretty good game or something, but man, that guy was a douchebag. And every time I play this game, I remember how much of a douchebag that guy was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost what it feels like to me in here. But to go along with that, there's also that hype that's no longer there either. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a great point. Again, that's circling around that, like, in that pocket, that moment that we're playing it, and it's not necessarily even about the game, but it's about what's occurring around it, right? I mentioned before playing with my mom and those experiences and kind of generating those things that for good or for bad, those things are there. They're kind of like ghosts that haunt the game, right? That haunt your experience. And
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that for you, Ben. I wish that was a better experience. I wish there was some way to kind of like, exorcise the demon associated with that. But that's tough. I think one of the things that I remember kind of playing games when I was young, like Double Dragon, and going over to a friend's house and playing it, and you when you first like pick up a game and you've never played it, it takes a while to get used to it, right? But I had other, the friends I was with who were really good at it. They had it for the whole week. They played with it, and they were just like, "Man, you're really bad at this. You really suck at it. Like you're really like, man, don't you know how to do it? It's up." And it's kind of like, just let me learn it. Like, let me figure out my own thing. And I just kept getting like verbally abused in a way, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And like, I'm like, when people are like, you want to play, Double Dragon's a great game. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I don't want to do that because there's a negative emotional attachment to it because of how you're treated. So, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Ben.
I think that part of that too, like going along with that, is keep that. I think that we could all do well is to keep that in mind anytime that it's like, man, like there is something that somebody else enjoys that I don't enjoy, before you destroy this person because they like something that you don't, realize, what we're talking about, that there are so many things that go into why we enjoy something that have nothing to do with the actual thing itself.
And here's
real quick. Can I
Kris?
come in here? That's exactly what we're trying to do with our All Those Nerd podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is kind of bring those hobbies and those things to the spotlight, and like, why are you into this thing? Like that's the whole reason for why we're doing that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I mean, here's a little bit of an example, right? We know in this podcast that I am not a RPG, JRPG kind of person, but you know who is? Jesse is, and I make the comment every once in a while. I'm happy that you're happy, right? And I think that's a statement about it, right? When that may not be the thing that you're passionate about, that fills your bucket, that you love, just be happy that someone else is happy about it, right? I'm not into Sharp FE. This just doesn't float my boat. But I'm really happy that Jesse's happy about it. And I can be like, oh, Jesse, it's a teen poppy, J-pop garbage, right? Mm-hmm. Because A, I don't know, and B, he may have some attachment to it and really enjoy it. So, like, Justin, keep your mouth shut, right? So I guess my big answer to everyone is just be nice.
What about Picross, Justin? What about
that's garbage? I mean, Picross is garbage. All right, let's.
Wait, so I can't think of a story similar to. I can't think of a story similar to this where someone gave me a negative vibe on a game, but I do have a story similar to Zach's where one of the guys I occasionally play poker with, he's mid 30s and still looks like he's varsity football player, but he is your closet nerd. So so when we're on the table, he'll talk to me about whatever video games or whatever Marvel movies recently come out, and so it was just fun to talk to him. It's just by looking at him, you wouldn't expect him to have those types of interests.
Yeah.
So you never know who's going to be your closet nerd.
Yeah. Right on, man. What about you, Kris?
I kind of had a little similar experience that Justin had at one point. My friend let me borrow Delta Force 2. That was back in like late '99, and it was one of the first games I ever played, or if the first game I ever played online, and it was a first-person shooter. Well, it was before they worked out the fact that like spawning in the same place all the time is not a great idea. So what I tried playing online. Yeah, I tried playing online for like a week, and the match would start, and everybody would run and get the gun, and then they would like camp and just like camp on the spawn point. So you'd spawn, die, And honestly, it was a huge factor as to why I don't really play first-person shooters that much.
So it soiled you on the entire genre.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I love the crap out of Skyrim and Fallout. Like, I like those. BioShock was really good. So I will play first-person games, but games that are more based on a story or something, I will never, like, it's just not me. I will never purchase Overwatch. I will never go online and play anything like that. Like, what's the other one?
Team Fortress 2?
Destiny.
Destiny.
And Halo. Like, I
What
just, I won't
did
get
you
'em.
think of Splatoon?
No, I love
How
Splatoon.
third person.
It's third person, and it's very different. It's not about it's not about
It's not about death
splatting or
count.
killing the other person. It's about spreading your ink. You know, the splatting and killing kind of comes with it.
Yeah, it's all about spreading your ink. That's just that's a Bucks quote right there.
Yeah. And there's a couple other things that ruined me throughout the ages. 2D fighters. I talked about this last time on one of our podcasts that like my house didn't allow the 2D like Mortal Kombat Killer Instinct in our house. So anytime that I would go to an arcade and a friend would be like, "Oh, let's some quarters in here. Let's play real quick," and I'd be like, "Okay," and they would just the whole match just Hadouken, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm jumping back, I'm crouching and trying. I'm not good at them." So I love Smash, but I don't like 2D fighters because of the combo system.
Mhm.
Because I never got it in the ground floor, so to this day I don't really understand.
Yeah.
And the tripping mechanism that was introduced in Smash Brothers Brawl kind of ruined that game for me as well. So,
Right
but
on.
that's it for me.
Very cool.
Before you close out, I did want to say that I am also a Nintendo dad. I do have a son, and
Nice.
hopefully this is a first for the podcast. His name legally on his birth certificate and social security card is Link, Link.
Nice.
What? Nice.
Wow.
That's super
Yeah,
cool.
fought hard for it, but I got it.
Pick your battles, people. That's what it's
right.
for.
What did you have to give up or give your wife to allow that?
Well, see, when we were pregnant, I told my wife, I was like, "Look, I've always wanted to name my kids an L name because my parents are both J's. They just worked out that way. So me and all my siblings' names start with K's. So I was like, well, I kind of wanted to keep the alphabet going with my kids, and it just so happened to line up that Link starts with L. Now here's the bonus, like the coup de grace, the icing on top of the cake. His birthday was August 22nd. To me, like at the time, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. It wasn't until like he was 2 years old that I looked it up. August 27th was the day that the original Legend of Zelda on the NES was released in North America.
Oh wow, that is
Mic drop.
yes, you're done. Just go get that kid a tunic.
That's right. Well,
You
and
start seeing
ironically,
him run through your backyard trying to like cut the grass.
well, ironically, he doesn't
Never
talk
own
much.
any pottery. Like,
The unfortunate thing is that he doesn't talk very much. So we're taking him to like speech therapy and occupational therapy to get him to talk. So I'm every once in a while I wonder like maybe if I had named him something else, like he wouldn't have this problem.
Nice.
yeah,
That's fantastic. I like that.
that's funny. Right on. Well, I think with that, I think that about does it, doesn't it, Justin?
That
What
does
do-
it.
What
That
do we
does
got
it.
to kind of wrap things up?
Yeah, a couple things to, a couple of what I'm going to call reminders. Reminder, guys, this month we are playing Castlevania Circle of the Moon. You can check it out on your Wii U. That's our Retro Rewind episode. A couple shout outs. I want to shout out to Gary Gray. You can find his stuff at The Broken Block on Twitter or on YouTube as well. But Gary and I have collaborated and we did a 1-minute short cartoon video called Pokemon Go News.
There you go.
And you can find that on our YouTube channel and also on his YouTube channel, on our Facebook and Twitter. It was kind of a fun little project we're doing. We're going to be putting out weekly episodes as well, so check it out. Speaking of babies, big congratulations to Paul Loy. Congrats, he recently had a baby, and he's part of our line chat. And so I'm just going to pull up that name right now. But yeah, it looks like baby and mom and dad, I think, are doing quite well. Tallulah Maisie May Lloyd. So, Paul, congratulations to you. Man, I love that line chat with having everyone in there talking about that. And that was such a great thing.
It's like busy lately.
And it's awesome for Paul to share that. So thank you.
I'll like forget about it for a couple of days, and I'm like, holy crap! There's like 200 messages here. What's going on?
Yeah. Like on a
Yeah,
weekend, I'll go play a poker game, come back, and there's 80 messages. I'm like, I've only been gone 2 hours. What happened?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's
Once
awesome
we get
in
some
there.
extra income in our place, that's what I want to do is get on that tier where I get on your line chat. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is awesome. And then I also want to give a shout out to 8-Bit Fever, who went over to iTunes and changed the world. 8-Bit Forever, sorry.
8-Bit, yeah.
And changed the world. And left a review that says, it's good to hear a clean and fun podcast for a change. The hosts are knowledgeable and seem to enjoy what they're doing. Sound is good as well. Wow, 8-Bit Forever. You haven't listened to a couple of our recent episodes. Jesse, I'm looking at you. Highly recommend this podcast if
Hey,
you
no,
are a fan
I
of
fixed my
Nintendo.
problems. It's
Yeah,
the
you
older
fixed
ones that had the issue.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks 8-Bit Forever to go over to iTunes. We appreciate that. As always, go over to check out Adam Leonard at megadads.org and his amazing artwork and commissions. That is it for our shout-outs, directions, all those kind of things, housekeeping. Zach, what about you?
Right on. Well, of course, you can follow us on all of the social medias, and you can do that on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Nintendo Dads. Before I continue, I also just want to say once again to Chris, where can people find you and all your goings-on the interwebs?
I am personally on Twitter and Instagram at Chris_JPrice, and that is KRIS_JPRICE. And don't forget to check us out. All That Is Nerd is the podcast, and we're on Twitter at AllNerdCast. So please come check us out. Lastly, if you're a nerd, you want to be on and talk about your passion, come on. We want you on.
Right on. Well, thanks again for being on the show. It's been great having you.
So much fun. I want to be on in the future again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll have our people call your people, which means Justin will call you.
Yep.
I am the people.
So am I.
Right on. So once again, if you guys want to follow us on all of the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Nintendo Dads, email us nintendodads@gmail.com. If you want to find our videos, go over to Twitch or YouTube and find them. Just look for Nintendo Dads. Add a /live on Wednesday nights, and you will find us around 9 o'clock Mountain Time-ish, around there. Follow us on Twitter. You'll see the link that Jesse sends out. You can call in, leave us a voicemail, 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. If you want some Nintendo Dads merch, go over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store. Big thanks to OC Remix for our music throughout the show, as well as to Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard for our amazing artwork. And of course, if you want to change the world, head over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. Written reviews are even better, and you can be just like 8-Bit Forever and have your review immortalized here on the show. That's going to be a thing we're going to do, I think.
We are.
That's a good idea. We should read through some of these older ones, too.
Absolutely.
It'd be fun to go through those. As well, if you want to subscribe to the show, you can do so on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or, of course, VGTribune.com. For me, for Justin, for Jesse, and for Chris, we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.